Beneath the vast night skies of antiquity, where every star told a story, ancient civilizations built monuments that did more than just track the heavens. They may have altered humanity's understanding of the cosmos itself. What if these stellar observatories weren't merely tools for navigation or worship, but instruments of celestial manipulation? From the towering pyramids of Giza to the cryptic stones of Stonehenge, these structures whisper secrets of a lost science, one that could rewrite our perception of history. How did cultures separated by oceans and millennia achieve such precise astronomical alignments? And why did they go to such extraordinary lengths to encode celestial knowledge into stone? This journey will unravel the hidden agendas behind these ancient marvels, revealing a puzzle that stretches far beyond stargazing into the realms of power, prophecy, and possibly even technologies we've yet to comprehend. The truth lies not just in the stars, but in what our ancestors chose to do with them. Thousands of years ago, beneath open skies unpolluted by city lights, the first astronomers gazed upward not with lenses or digital screens, but with intuition, patience, and an almost sacred dedication to the heavens. The Babylonians etched celestial patterns onto clay tablets, predicting planetary motions centuries in advance. Egyptian priests aligned temples so precisely that sunlight would pierce inner sanctuaries only on solstices, as if the gods themselves had orchestrated the event. What's striking isn't just their accuracy, but why they devoted lifetimes to this pursuit. For these cultures, the stars were more than distant lights, they were a cosmic clockwork guiding every aspect of life. Harvests were timed to the Pleiades rising. Dynasties rose and fell under omens drawn from eclipses. Even the layout of cities mirrored constellations, binding earthly power to celestial order. The precision of their observations hints at something profound, a science interwoven with spirituality, where tracking Venus or Sirius wasn't just calculation but communion. Yet the most tantalizing question lingers. How did societies with no modern tools achieve such feats? Some argue it was generational patience, centuries of naked eye data passed down like a sacred torch. Others whisper of lost techniques or even guidance from sources we've yet to uncover. One thing is certain, these ancient sky watchers left behind a legacy etched in stone and myth, daring us to decipher just how deep their understanding truly went. Rising from the Salisbury Plain like a skeletal hand reaching for the cosmos, Stonehenge has defied explanation for centuries. While most agree its towering monoliths track the sun's journey during solstices, the precision of its alignment suggests something far more advanced than a simple calendar. The heel stone, for instance, doesn't just mark the summer sun, as it frames it with mathematical exactness, as if the builders were encoding a deeper celestial language into the landscape. What's truly puzzling are the blue stones, hauled over 150 miles from the Preseli Hills in Wales. This wasn't just an architectural choice, it was a deliberate act, as if these particular stones held properties essential to the site's function. Some researchers propose these rocks vibrate at unique frequencies, turning Stonehenge into a resonance chamber for energies we're only beginning to understand. Could the ancients have been tuning into cosmic vibrations, using the monument as a kind of antenna? The geometry of Stonehenge reveals even more layers. Its inner horseshoe of trilithons mirrors celestial patterns, while its outer ring aligns with lunar standstills, events occurring only every 18 years. This isn't random. It's the work of astronomers who viewed the sky as a living, interactive force. Alternative theories go further, suggesting Stonehenge was part of a vast network of ley lines, connecting it to other sacred sites like Avebury and even distant pyramids. If true, it implies a coordinated effort across cultures to harness something far grander than mere timekeeping. Whether it was an astronomical calculator, an energy conduit, or something beyond our current grasp, one thing is certain: Stonehenge refuses to be pinned down. Each layer of discovery peels back another mystery, leaving us to wonder if we've underestimated the sophistication of those who built it. What secrets are still locked in the alignment of its stones, waiting for the right moment or the right observer to reveal them? The Great Pyramid of Giza stands not just as a monument to human ambition, but as a riddle carved in stone, one that whispers of celestial secrets. While textbooks call it a tomb, its design tells a different story. Its four sides align almost flawlessly with the cardinal directions, an engineering marvel achieved without modern tools. Even more astonishing, its layout mirrors the three stars of Orion's belt with uncanny precision, matching their celestial positions from over 4,000 years ago. This isn't just symbolism, it's a deliberate act, as if the pyramid were a terrestrial echo of the cosmos. Look deeper and the anomalies multiply. The pyramid's descending and ascending shafts target specific stars: Sirius, the brightest in our sky, and Theban, the pole star of the ancient Egyptians. These alignments weren't random. They were timed to critical moments in the Egyptian calendar, suggesting the structure functioned as a kind of three-dimensional astronomical clock. And then there's the math. The pyramid's height bears the same ratio to its perimeter as a circle's radius does to its circumference, embedding the value of pi into its very geometry. How did a civilization without advanced mathematics encode such constants into stone? Egyptian texts offer cryptic clues. The pyramid texts, carved in burial chambers, speak of the structure as a ramp to the heavens, a place where pharaohs join the gods. But some researchers go further, proposing the pyramid may have harnessed energy. Its granite-lined chambers resonate at specific frequencies, and its shape channels electromagnetic forces in ways we're only beginning to study. Could it have been a device, not just a monument? The debate isn't just academic. It forces us to rethink what ancient societies knew and why they hid that knowledge in plain sight. Whether as a tomb, an observatory, or something far more mysterious, the Great Pyramid refuses to be confined to a single explanation. Every layer of its design seems to ask, what if we've underestimated the architects of antiquity? Their legacy isn't just in the stones they left behind, but in the questions that still hover unanswered above the desert sands. Deep in the jungles of the Yucatan, the Maya crafted a celestial legacy that still leaves modern astronomers speechless. At the heart of their cosmic obsession stood El Caracol, a spiraling observatory whose narrow windows pinpointed Venus's movements with surgical precision. While medieval Europe still struggled with rudimentary calendars, Maya scribes calculated the planet's 584-day cycle down to a fraction of a day. But this wasn't just scientific curiosity, it was a sacred duty. To the Maya, Venus wasn't merely a bright dot in the sky. It was Kukulkan, the feathered serpent god whose motions dictated war, harvest, and even royal coronations. Nowhere is this fusion of myth and mathematics more vivid than at Chichen Itza's main pyramid. During equinoxes, shadows slither down its steps like a living serpent, an illusion so deliberate it proves the Maya didn't just observe celestial patterns, they staged them. The alignment isn't approximate, it's pixel perfect, requiring generational knowledge of the sun's path. Some researchers argue these events weren't just rituals but encoded messages, a way to sync human events with cosmic rhythms. And here's the jaw-dropper. Their long-count calendar pinpointed eclipses thousands of years in the future with accuracy rivaling modern software. How did a civilization without telescopes achieve this? Mainstream scholars credit decades of meticulous record-keeping on bark paper codices. But other theories point to anomalies like the advanced acoustics of their pyramids, where a clap echoes as a chirping quetzal, or how their ball courts align with Orion's belt. Could these be remnants of a deeper, perhaps even lost technology? The Maya themselves claimed their knowledge came from the star people, beings who descended from the Pleiades. Whether myth or memory, one truth is undeniable. Their sky science was so refined, it forces us to confront a haunting possibility. What if ancient mythology was actually precision astronomy in disguise? Their legacy lingers in every carved glyph, whispering that the boundary between Earth and cosmos might be thinner than we ever imagined. Buried for millennia in a German forest, the Nebra Sky Disk emerges as Europe's most enigmatic celestial artifact, a shimmering bronze enigma that rewrites our understanding of prehistoric astronomy. Unearthed by treasure hunters in 1999, this 12-inch disk isn't just ancient art. It's a snapshot of the cosmos as viewed 3,600 years ago, with golden arcs tracing the sun and moon alongside a cluster of stars unmistakably representing the Pleiades. But here's what stuns researchers: its precision. The angles of its arcs match solstice markers, while the Pleiades' placement aligns with agricultural cycles crucial to Bronze Age survival. This wasn't decoration, it was a functional tool blending science and spirituality in ways we're only starting to grasp. The disk's backstory deepens the mystery. Found alongside swords and tools in what was likely a ritual deposit, it hints at a culture that saw the heavens as inseparable from earthly power. One theory suggests priest astronomers used it as a celestial calculator, adjusting the movable arcs to predict lunar phases or eclipses, turning cosmic events into a kind of divine theater. Others argue it was part of a larger network, with similar disks once spread across Europe, forming a fragmented guide to the skies. The truth may lie in its craftsmanship. The bronze tin content traces back to Cornwall, England, proving its creators participated in vast trade networks and perhaps shared astronomical knowledge across continents. Yet the most haunting question isn't how it was made, but why its celestial symbols abruptly changed. Early versions show fewer stars, with later additions overlaying them like a palimpsest of the cosmos. Was this an update based on new observations or evidence of a shifting belief system? The disk's final form includes a solar barge, a mythological vessel believed to carry the sun, blurring the line between astronomy and myth. Whether an eclipse predictor, a sacred calendar, or a relic of a lost astral science, the Nebra Sky Disk shatters assumptions about prehistoric Europe's sophistication. Its very existence whispers of a time when tracking the stars wasn't just practical, it was a dialogue with the divine. And as we decode its golden symbols, we're left to wonder how much of this ancient cosmic wisdom still lies buried, waiting to be unearthed. Rising from the barren plains of southeastern Turkey, Gobekli Tepe shatters every assumption we've ever had about early human civilization. Dating back an astonishing 12,000 years, 6 millennia older than Stonehenge, this sprawling complex of massive T-shaped pillars redefines what hunter-gatherers were supposedly capable of. But what's truly mind-bending isn't just its age, it's what's etched into the stone. Each pillar is a menagerie of carved beasts, scorpions, foxes, and birds frozen in intricate detail. At first glance, they seem like ritual art, but look closer. These creatures align eerily with known constellations, the fox matching Cygnus, the scorpion mirroring Scorpius. Even more compelling, the site's circular enclosures are arranged to frame the summer solstice sunrise, as if the builders were mapping the heavens onto the earth. This wasn't crude stargazing. The precision suggests a society that tracked celestial cycles before inventing agriculture or permanent settlements. Mainstream archaeology struggles to explain why nomadic groups would invest generations in such a project. Was it a sacred site where shamans communed with star gods, or something more practical, an early warning system? Some researchers point to carvings resembling comets, hinting Gobekli Tepe might have been built in response to a cosmic catastrophe like the Younger Dryas impact event. The implications are staggering. If these hunter-gatherers possessed such sophisticated astronomical knowledge, our entire timeline of human progress may need rewriting. Gobekli Tepe forces us to ask, did the stars guide us toward civilization itself? Every carved pillar stands as a silent challenge, daring us to reconsider just how ancient humanity's relationship with the cosmos truly is. At the bottom of the Aegean Sea, encrusted in salt and coral for over 2,000 years, lay an object that would force us to rewrite history's assumptions about ancient technology. When sponge divers stumbled upon the Antikythera mechanism in 1901, they couldn't have imagined they'd unearthed antiquity's most sophisticated mechanical marvel, a labyrinth of bronze gears so precise it's been called the world's first analog computer. This wasn't some crude tool. X-ray scans revealed over 30 interlocking gears, engineered to mirror the erratic motions of the moon and planets with astonishing accuracy. One dial tracked the 4-year cycle of the Olympic Games, while another predicted eclipses down to the hour capabilities that wouldn't reappear in clockwork until the Renaissance, a millennium and a half later. The real shock, it wasn't just a calculator. The mechanism's backplate displayed a revolving cosmos with tiny spheres representing the sun, moon, and 5 known planets moving through the zodiac like pieces on a celestial chessboard. Who could have crafted such a device? Mainstream scholars credit the Greeks of the 1st century BCE, possibly linked to the legendary mathematician Archimedes. But hints of Babylonian eclipse records embedded in its gearing suggest even older knowledge was woven into its design. Some speculate it was a teaching tool for wealthy students, while others argue its complexity points to ritual or navigational use, perhaps guiding ships under the stars. The most tantalizing theory, though, lies in its imperfections. Certain planetary motions are slightly off, not because of error, but because the creator deliberately mimicked ancient Greek astronomical models, flaws and all. This wasn't just engineering, it was a philosophical statement, blending science and myth in a way that challenges our modern divide between technology and mysticism. Today, as researchers 3D print reconstructions to decode its secrets, the Antikythera mechanism stands as a haunting reminder. If this single device survived the ravages of time, how many other marvels were lost to history? Its very existence whispers that the ancient world may have been far more mechanically gifted than we ever dared to assume, and that the line between past and future isn't nearly as straight as we once believed. Long before telescopes graced the skies of Europe, the scholars of ancient India were mapping the cosmos with mathematical brilliance that still baffles modern researchers. Hidden within the poetic verses of the Vedas texts dating back over 3,000 years, are descriptions of celestial phenomena so precise they border on prophetic. The Rigveda speaks of the sun as the center of spheres, while later Jyotisha texts detail planetary orbits with equations rivaling Kepler's laws. These weren't just spiritual musings, they were meticulous astronomical records passed down through generations like a sacred scientific code. Take the Konark Sun Temple, a colossal stone chariot frozen mid-journey, its wheels designed as sundials casting shadows with solstice precision. Every inch of its architecture whispers of celestial intent. The main sanctum, now lost to time, once captured the dawn sun through a diamond-studded window, refracting light to illuminate the deity within, a fusion of optics, geometry, and ritual. Nearby, the Jagannath Temple's annual Rath Yatra festival mirrors the sun's zenith, as if choreographed by the stars themselves, but the true shock lies in the numbers. The Surya Siddhanta, a 5th century text, calculates the speed of light to within 1% of today's accepted value, a feat impossible without advanced instrumentation, unless the authors possessed knowledge we've yet to uncover. It even estimates the universe's age at billions of years, millennia before Hubble glimpsed distant galaxies. How some argue these were theoretical breakthroughs born of meditation and calculation. Others point to myths of flying machines Vimanas said to navigate by celestial currents. The deeper mystery isn't just the accuracy, but the purpose. Were these temples and texts merely devotional, or did they serve as functional observatories, even devices? The Tamil Sangam literature describes energy lines connecting sacred sites, echoing modern theories about ley lines and geomagnetic forces. And then there's the eerie alignment of major temples along specific latitudes, forming a grid that mirrors constellations like a terrestrial star chart. Whether divine inspiration or forgotten science, India's celestial legacy forces a humbling question. How much of our modern understanding was already etched into ancient stone? The stars, it seems, were not just observed here, they were conversed with, encoded, and perhaps even harnessed in ways we're only beginning to decipher. Beneath the cracked surfaces of ox scapulae and turtle shells, the Shang dynasty priests of ancient China carved questions to the heavens, questions that would decide wars, harvests, and the fate of dynasties. These oracle bones, heated until they fractured, revealed celestial answers in their jagged lines, a practice blending astronomy with divine intervention. But this wasn't mere superstition. The cracks followed precise patterns interpreted by scribes who recorded solar eclipses, comet sightings, and even supernova with chilling accuracy. One bone from around 1300 BC documents a star explosion so bright it was visible in daylight for weeks, an event modern astronomers later identified as the supernova that birthed the Crab Nebula. What's striking isn't just their observations, but their conviction that the cosmos communicated directly with earthly rulers. The Gan Shizing Jing, one of the world's oldest star catalogues, didn't just map constellations, it tied them to omens. A guest star, their term for a supernova, might herald an emperor's death, while a comet's tail could signal rebellion. Emperors employed court astronomers not just to track the sky, but to ritually align human actions with celestial rhythms. During eclipses, they beat drums and shot arrows skyward, believing these acts could repel cosmic threats. This wasn't passive stargazing, it was a dialogue where rituals aimed to sway the heavens themselves. The sophistication of their records upends assumptions. While Europe still clung to mythological explanations, Chinese astronomers charted sunspot cycles and planetary motions with mathematical rigor. Their comet observations, spanning centuries, remain so precise that NASA still references them today. Yet for all their scientific prowess, they never separated astronomy from spirituality. The sky was a mirror, reflecting and influencing the human world in equal measure. Perhaps the most haunting clue lies in the ruins of ancient observatories like the Zhou dynasty's Star Terrace. Here, astronomers worked alongside diviners, their calculations etched onto bamboo strips alongside prayers. The line between science and sacrament didn't exist because to them, the universe wasn't a machine to be dissected, but a living force to be negotiated with. In this worldview, a king's decree or a priest's chant might ripple outward, altering fate among the stars. Whether practical science or sacred protocol, China's celestial legacy forces us to reconsider an ancient truth, that our ancestors didn't just watch the stars, they sought to converse with them. And in the delicate script of those oracle bones, we're left to wonder, did they know something about the universe's responsiveness that we've since forgotten? Scattered across Peru's arid plains, the Nazca Lines stretch for miles, enigmatic drawings so vast, their full scale only reveals itself from the sky. Etched into the earth over 2,000 years ago, these precise geometric shapes and animal figures have sparked endless debate. Were they cosmic maps, sacred pathways, or something even more extraordinary? What's undeniable is their celestial connection. Many lines align with solstice sunrises, acting as a giant calendar tracking the sun's seasonal dance. The spider glyph mirrors the constellation Orion, while the hummingbird's beak points directly to the December solstice sunset. This isn't random artistry, it's deliberate, a way to anchor earthly life to celestial cycles. Some researchers argue the Nazca people walked these lines in ritual processions, physically tracing the paths of stars to harness their energy or invoke divine favor. Yet the precision defies easy explanation. Created by removing dark surface stones to expose lighter soil beneath, these designs maintain flawless symmetry despite their sprawling size, some stretching longer than the Empire State Building laid flat. Without aerial vantage points, how did the Nazca achieve such accuracy? Theories range from simple surveying tools like ropes and stakes to more speculative ideas, like hot air balloons offering a bird's-eye view. But one detail chills the spine. Certain lines converge at sacred mountains, forming what some interpret as ancient landing strips for celestial visitors. Theories about extraterrestrial runways may sound fantastical, but they stem from the line's sheer impracticality for terrestrial use. Why create markings only visible from great heights unless the intended audience wasn't human? Indigenous oral traditions speak of sky gods descending in fiery chariots, fueling speculation that the Nazca crafted these geoglyphs as signals or offerings. Skeptics counter that the lines served as pilgrimage routes or water markers in this parched landscape, yet even then, their astronomical precision remains. Perhaps the truth lies in the way the Nazca saw the world, not as separate from the cosmos, but interwoven with it. Every line, whether pointing to a mountain or mirroring the Milky Way, reflects a belief that Earth and sky were in constant dialogue. Whether as ritual paths, star maps, or messages to unseen beings, these desert etchings challenge us to reconsider how deeply ancient cultures understood and perhaps even communicated with the heavens above. Their silent questions linger in the dust. If these lines weren't meant for us, who were they meant for? Towering above the Cambodian jungle, Angkor Wat doesn't just dominate the landscape, it echoes the heavens. While most see it as a marvel of Khmer architecture, its true genius lies hidden in the stars. The entire temple complex is laid out as a near-perfect reflection of the constellation Draco, its spires and galleries mirroring the dragon's celestial form with eerie precision. But this isn't just artistic homage, it's a deliberate act of cosmic alignment, as if the builders sought to anchor their sacred ground to the sky itself. Step inside and the celestial motifs deepen. Bas-reliefs stretching hundreds of feet depict the Hindu creation myth, where gods and demons churn the cosmic ocean to extract the elixir of immortality. Scholars now recognize this as more than mythology. It's an allegory for the Milky Way, its swirling forms mirroring the galaxy's structure. Even the temple's corridors play their part, designed so that during equinoxes, the rising sun illuminates specific carvings in a fleeting dance of light and shadow. These aren't accidents, they're celestial stagecraft turning stone into a working model of the universe. What drove the Khmer Empire to invest such staggering effort in these alignments? The answer may lie in their belief that architecture could channel cosmic energy. Like a spiritual capacitor, Angkor Wat's alignment with Draco and equinoctial points may have been intended to draw divine favor, a bridge between earthly power and celestial order. Some researchers go further, noting how the temple's moats and reservoirs mimic the cosmic ocean, creating a hydrological system that symbolically and perhaps energetically mirrored the heavens. The line between astronomy and religion blurs completely here. While modern science separates celestial mechanics from spirituality, the Khmer saw them as inseparable. Their temple wasn't just a place of worship, it was a living star chart, a machine for harmonizing human and cosmic rhythms. Even today, as laser scans reveal hidden chambers and previously unnoticed alignments, we're left to ponder, did Angkor Wat's builders understand something about the universe's interconnectedness that we're only starting to glimpse? The stones whisper yes, if we're willing to listen. Deep in the cliffs of Mali's Bandiagara escarpment, the Dogon people guard a celestial secret that defies conventional history. For generations, their oral traditions have spoken of Potolo, an invisible companion star orbiting Sirius, the brightest star in our sky. Here's where it gets astonishing. Modern astronomy only confirmed Sirius B, a white dwarf so dense a teaspoon of its matter weighs tons, in the 19th century. Yet the Dogon not only knew of its existence, they mapped its elliptical 50-year orbit and described its extraordinary density long before telescopes could glimpse it. How is this possible? The tribe's elders say this knowledge came from the Nomo, amphibious beings who descended from the sky in a vessel surrounded by fire and water. These visitors allegedly shared cosmic insights that became woven into Dogon rituals, like the Sigwi ceremony, which unfolds over decades to mirror Sirius B's orbital period. Skeptics argue the Dogon might have absorbed this information from European missionaries or colonial astronomers, except their lore traces back centuries earlier, with no evidence of outside contact. The implications ripple far beyond Mali. If the Dogon's Sirius knowledge wasn't borrowed or coincidental, it hints at a forgotten lineage of astronomical wisdom, perhaps remnants of an advanced pre-flood civilization or even interstellar contact. Mainstream science struggles to reconcile their accuracy, as white dwarfs can't be observed without infrared technology. Yet Dogon sand drawings depict Sirius's binary orbit with uncanny precision, and their myths describe other celestial phenomena like Jupiter's moons and Saturn's rings with eerie clarity. Whether passed down from star visitors or preserved through an unbroken chain of shamans, the Dogon's cosmic legacy forces a humbling question. How many other cultures carried truths about the universe that we've dismissed as myth? Their story isn't just about a star, it's a challenge to rethink where knowledge comes from and who gets to decide what counts as discovery. In their cliffside villages, the night sky isn't just observed, it's remembered like an ancestral conversation written in light. Among the dusty archives of ancient Mesopotamia, the Babylonian Venus tablets stand as one of history's most sophisticated celestial records. These cracked clay fragments, dating back nearly 4,000 years, don't just track Venus, they predict its movements with eerie precision, forecasting its appearances and disappearances decades in advance. But what's truly fascinating isn't just their accuracy, it's why the Babylonians dedicated such painstaking effort to this single planet. To them, Venus wasn't merely a point of light, it was the goddess Ishtar, a divine force whose motions foretold war, famine, or prosperity. Each tablet pairs astronomical data with ominous warnings. If Venus disappears in the west on the third day, enemies will ravage the land. This wasn't poetic metaphor, it was statecraft. Kings delayed battles, farmers planted crops, and treaties were signed based on these celestial readings, blending science and superstition into a single, potent authority. How did they achieve such precision without telescopes? The answer lies in their relentless record-keeping. Babylonian priests logged Venus's cycles for centuries, uncovering patterns modern math confirms as accurate. Yet their methods went beyond observation. They developed early algebra and geometry to model planetary motion, tools so advanced they'd later influence Greek and Islamic astronomers. Some scholars argue these calculations weren't just passive predictions but part of an active belief that rituals performed in sync with celestial events could steer fate itself. Take the Akitu festival, where the king reenacted a cosmic battle tied to Venus's cycle, symbolically restoring order under the god's gaze. Timing was everything. A misaligned ceremony might anger the heavens, inviting disaster. This wasn't mere theater, it was a delicate negotiation with the cosmos where priests acted as intermediaries between earth and sky. The Venus tablets force us to confront a radical idea that ancient astronomers didn't just study the stars, they sought to engage with them. Whether through math, myth, or ritual, they built a system where human actions and celestial movements were threads in the same vast tapestry. In their worldview, the heavens weren't a distant clockwork but a living, responsive force, one that could perhaps be swayed by those who understood its language. Stretching across the windswept coast of Brittany like a vast, cryptic army, the Karnak stones hold their ground in eerie silence. Over 3,000 megaliths stand in meticulous rows, some towering twice the height of a person, others worn low by millennia of rain and salt air. Unlike the more famous Stonehenge, Karnak doesn't form circles or arches, it unfolds in relentless straight lines, as if charting invisible pathways across the landscape. And that's precisely what researchers believe they were doing, mapping the cosmos itself. The stone's alignments are no accident. During the winter solstice, the sun sets in perfect harmony with the Grand Menek alignment, casting long shadows that connect the monoliths like a celestial ruler. Even more striking, some rows pinpoint the moon's extreme rising and setting points during its 18-6-year cycle, a phenomenon known as the lunar standstill. This level of precision hints at something beyond primitive ritual. It suggests a sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics encoded in stone. Was Karnak an open-air observatory, a place where ancient astronomers tracked the heavens with nothing more than granite and patience, but the mysteries deepen? Independent researchers have noted that certain stones emit faint vibrations when struck, leading to speculation they might have functioned as a kind of seismic network, detecting earthquakes or even resonant frequencies tied to cosmic events. Others point to the site's location along geological fault lines where telluric energy, the Earth's natural electrical currents, flows unusually strong. Could Karnak's builders have harnessed these forces, turning the stones into conduits between Earth and sky? The sheer effort behind Karnak's construction defies simple explanation. Moving and erecting these megaliths would have required not just manpower but coordination across generations, an entire society united by celestial obsession. Local legends whisper of Merlin turning Roman legions to stone here, but the truth may be even stranger. Artifacts found nearby include carved symbols resembling celestial bodies, while some stones bear cup marks that align with star patterns when viewed from specific angles. Whether as an eclipse predictor, an energy conduit, or a sacred stage for rituals lost to time, Karnak refuses to surrender its secrets easily. Each theory, from the scientific to the speculative, paints a picture of a culture deeply attuned to the rhythms of the universe. The stones stand as both monument and riddle, challenging us to decipher what drove an ancient people to transform their landscape into a silent dialogue with the stars. One thing is certain, beneath their weathered surfaces lies a testament to humanity's timeless quest to bridge the earthly and the eternal. The vast Pacific Ocean stretches over thousands of miles, an unforgiving expanse of water that would seem impossible to navigate without modern instruments. Yet the Polynesians did exactly that, traversing these open seas with nothing more than the stars above, the waves below, and an oral tradition so precise it functioned like a celestial GPS. At the heart of their mastery was the Cape, Huwetu, the star compass. Unlike printed maps or magnetic needles, this mental construct divided the horizon into segments marked by specific stars, allowing navigators to hold course even when clouds obscured the sky. Each rising and setting star acted as a waypoint, memorized through chants passed down for generations. But what's truly astonishing isn't just their accuracy, it's that these techniques predated European navigation tools by centuries. Some legends hint at an even deeper origin. oral histories speak of Hokulea, the Star of Gladness, guiding the first voyagers from a homeland now lost to time. Could this be a faint memory of an older seafaring civilization, one that mapped the Pacific long before recorded history? The evidence is subtle but compelling. Polynesian navigational lore shares uncanny parallels with other ancient maritime cultures, suggesting a shared or borrowed celestial science. Consider the sacred Waikolua, the double-hulled canoes that carried settlers across thousands of miles. These vessels weren't just boats, they were floating observatories. Navigators slept in open decks to feel subtle shifts in swell direction, read cloud formations for distant land, and even tracked migratory birds at night, all while keeping mental charts of star paths modern instruments now confirm as accurate. Why does this matter today? Because their achievements rewrite the story of human exploration. While Europe struggled to leave coastal waters, Polynesians had already colonized the most remote islands on Earth, guided by a celestial knowledge so refined it borders on intuition. Was this brilliance born of necessity, or could it point to something even older, a forgotten epoch when star navigation was a global language? Their legacy lingers in the way we now study their methods, not as primitive techniques, but as proof that the human mind, trained by tradition, can achieve what machines only replicate. The Pacific wasn't a barrier to the Polynesians, it was a highway written in starlight, and their voyages stand as a testament to what's possible when we truly listen to the sky. Across the sweep of human history, one pattern emerges with uncanny consistency: the division of the sky into 12 sacred segments, each ruled by a celestial archetype. From the cuneiform tablets of Mesopotamia to the silk scrolls of the Han Dynasty, the zodiac transcends geography and epoch, as if echoing a forgotten universal language. But was this just a coincidence of human imagination, or something far more intentional, a coded system linking earthly life to the cosmic order? The Babylonian origins of the zodiac reveal its roots in meticulous observation. By the 5th century BC, their astronomers had mapped the ecliptic, the sun's apparent path, into 12 equal parts, each named after constellations that marked seasonal shifts. Yet these weren't arbitrary symbols. Taurus the bull corresponded with spring planting, while Scorpio's appearance heralded autumn harvests. This wasn't astrology as we know it today. It was a fusion of agriculture, astronomy, and governance, where celestial events dictated everything from tax collection to royal coronations. What's startling is how these symbols migrated. In China, the rat, ox, and tiger of the lunar zodiac share eerie thematic parallels with Western signs, not in imagery, but in their ties to cyclical time and human temperament. The Hindu Jyotisha system, meanwhile, preserves Vedic constellations that align with Babylonian ones despite arising independently. Could these similarities point to a shared ancestral knowledge, perhaps carried by ancient seafarers or lost civilizations? Some researchers point to Gobekli Tepe's animal carvings dating back 12,000 years as potential proto-zodiac symbols, suggesting the system predates recorded history. The deeper mystery lies in the zodiac's metaphysical layers. Ancient texts describe these signs not just as star groups, but as vibrational frequencies influencing matter and consciousness. The Egyptian Dendera zodiac, carved into temple ceilings, was believed to channel celestial energy into rituals. Similarly, Maya codices depict zodiac-like beasts guiding souls through the underworld. This wasn't mere mythology. It was a science of alignment, suggesting humanity once understood how to tune itself to cosmic rhythms. Skeptics argue these patterns are products of universal human psychology, our innate tendency to see order in randomness. But the precision of the zodiac's astronomical foundations challenges that simplicity. Whether as a navigational tool, a spiritual compass, or a relic of a global prehistoric science, Its persistence across cultures whispers a tantalizing question. Did our ancestors inherit a celestial cipher, one that blurred the line between watching the stars and wielding their power? The heavens, it seems, spoke a language that the whole world once understood, and fragments of that dialogue still linger in the stars above us. At the crossroads of science and sovereignty stood the astronomer-priests of antiquity, figures who wielded the stars as both compass and scepter. In civilizations from Babylon to the Andes, these individuals weren't just stargazers. They were the bridge between Earth and cosmos, their celestial predictions doubling as divine decrees. When an Egyptian pharaoh aligned his coronation with Sirius's heliacal rising, or a Mayan lord timed his wars to Venus's descent, they weren't following superstition. They were enacting a sacred science, one that blurred the line between observing the heavens and directing their influence. The power of these sky seers lay in their precision. By predicting an eclipse or solstice, they could stage events that felt like miracles, darkening the sun on command or summoning the dawn to bless a new temple. Such feats weren't just impressive, they were political. The Babylonian Enuma Anu Enlil tablets, for instance, show how eclipse omens dictated decisions to revolt or submit, while Chinese emperors employed entire bureaus of astronomers to certify their mandate of heaven through celestial signs. Control the narrative of the skies and you controlled the hearts of the people, but here's where it grows darker. Some rituals hint at ambitions beyond prediction. The Hindu fire sacrifice, Agnikayana, involved stacking bricks in precise astronomical alignments to rebuild the universe. The Dogon Sigui ceremony, synchronized with Sirius B's orbit, sought to renew cosmic order through dance and mask. Were these acts of reverence or attempts to intervene? The architecture of ancient observatories fuels the debate. Stonehenge's blue stones, chosen for their acoustic properties, or Teotihuacan's pyramid placements mirroring planetary distances, suggest spaces designed not just to watch celestial cycles but to resonate with them. This duality forces us to reconsider sites like Gobekli Tepe or Angkor Wat. Were they temples, observatories, or something more transactional, a meeting ground where humanity negotiated with the cosmos? The answer may lie in the artifacts left behind. Clay tablets detailing star charts alongside incantations or coronation rituals timed to planetary conjunctions paint a world where science and spellcraft were indistinguishable. Perhaps the most provocative clue comes from the exceptions cultures that resisted this merger. Greek astronomers like Aristarchus proposed heliocentrism without priestly trappings, only to be sidelined. Their outlier status implies how radical it was in most ancient societies to separate celestial study from celestial authority. The stars, it seems, weren't just guides or gods. They were the ultimate source of legitimacy, and those who claimed to speak their language held the keys to power. In the end, these astronomer-priests challenge our modern categories. To label them as either scientists or mystics misses the point. They were both, operating in a world where the universe wasn't just observed, but actively conversed with, and their monuments stand as stone testimonies to that audacious dialogue. When a comet's pale streak slashed across the night sky in 1066, it wasn't just a celestial spectacle, it became a prophecy carved into history. Across the English Channel, King Harold Roman II of England saw it as a dire warning, while William the Conqueror declared it divine endorsement for his invasion. Within months, the Norman conquest reshaped an entire nation, proving how powerfully the heavens could steer human destiny. This wasn't mere superstition. It was celestial realpolitik, where the interpretation of cosmic events became a weapon as sharp as any sword. Few forces have swayed civilizations as unpredictably as comets. The Romans recorded Halley's apparition in 12 B.C.E. as a harbinger of Augustus's rise, cementing his legend as a divinely chosen ruler. Half a world away, the Maya depicted similar events in their codices, linking comets to the fall of kings or the birth of new eras. These icy wanderers, indifferent to human affairs, became blank canvases for power struggles, their appearances twisted into omens to justify conquests or quell rebellions. But eclipses wielded even more visceral fear. When darkness swallowed the sun over ancient Mesopotamia, priests scrambled to perform apotropaic rituals, beating drums and lighting fires to ward off the celestial threat. Chinese emperors stockpiled food ahead of predicted eclipses, knowing the sudden night could spark panic among their people. The stakes were existential in 648 B. CE, a solar eclipse interrupted a battle between the Lydians and Medes, shocking both armies into laying down arms. A temporary peace brokered not by diplomats but by the cosmos itself. Then there were the supernova stellar explosions so brilliant they outshone entire galaxies. The Crab Nebula's birth in 1054 lit up daytime skies from Japan to the Islamic world, its light immortalized in pottery shards and court chronicles. For the pueblones of Choco Canyon, it may have inspired the sudden construction of celestial-aligned structures, as if trying to harness that cosmic energy. These events weren't just observed, they were metabolized into culture, altering architecture, religion, and even the rise and fall of dynasties. Beneath this interplay of stars and society lies a darker question. How much of this divine will was orchestrated? The Star of Bethlehem, whether a conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn or a miraculous nova, became the ultimate propaganda tool for early Christianity. Aztec priests, meanwhile, may have staged sacrifices to coincide with eclipses, reinforcing their authority as intermediaries to the gods. The truth is as unsettling as it is undeniable. Ancient rulers didn't just read the heavens, they weaponized them. By monopolizing celestial knowledge, elites transformed cosmic phenomena into tools of control, turning wonder into obedience. The sky, once a shared tapestry of myth and mystery, became yet another frontier of power, one where light itself could be bent to rule the earth below. Beneath the grandeur of ancient observatories and celestial altars lies a shadowed history, one where knowledge of the stars wasn't just a gift but a weapon. Imagine a ruler standing before his people, pointing to a predicted eclipse as proof of divine favor, or worse, staging an omen to crush dissent. This wasn't mere mythology. From the Americas to Asia, elites wielded the cosmos as a tool of control, turning the heavens into a theater of power. Take the case of the Maya, whose priests preserved exclusive knowledge of Venus cycles within elite circles. While commoners saw the planet's movements as mystical signs, rulers timed wars and tax collections to its phases, ensuring victories were seen as preordained and sacrifices as celestial necessities. The Dresden Codex, a surviving Maya manuscript, reads less like a sacred text and more like a playbook for manipulating public awe. Even more chilling are accounts of staged celestial events. Chinese annals describe court astronomers using polished mirrors to create artificial comets, while Roman historians recorded emperors fabricating prophecies to justify purges. The infamous Star of Bethlehem legend itself may have roots in political theater, a calculated merging of astrology and propaganda to legitimize new regimes. But the most insidious control wasn't in grand spectacles, but in secrecy. The Babylonian Nabu priests guarded their eclipse predictions like state secrets, releasing them only to suppress rebellions or destabilize rivals. In Egypt, the heliacal rising of Sirius wasn't just a calendar marker. It dictated the Nile's floods, giving temple elites unchecked authority over agriculture and survival. Yet for all their power, these systems carried a fatal flaw. When celestial events defied predictions, like the unexpected supernova of 1054 that stunned Song Dynasty astronomers, the illusion cracked. Revolts flared, dynasties fell, and the very knowledge meant to sustain power became its undoing. The ruins of these ancient observatories now stand as silent witnesses to a dual legacy, monuments to human ingenuity and cautionary tales of how easily the stars can be weaponized. In their stones lies a warning that the greatest danger isn't ignorance of the cosmos, but the temptation to monopolize its mysteries. Beneath the thick canopy of the Amazon rainforest, massive earthworks lay hidden for centuries, geometric shapes so vast they're only visible from the air. These sprawling circles and squares, etched into the earth over 2,000 years ago, weren't just ceremonial grounds. Recent LiDAR scans reveal precise alignments with solstices and star patterns, suggesting the builders tracked celestial cycles with startling sophistication. How did societies in the heart of the jungle, far from Egypt or Mesopotamia, develop such advanced astronomical knowledge? The answer may rewrite history. Half a world away, in Turkey's Cappadocia region, another puzzle unfolds. Beneath the fairy tale rock formations lie entire subterranean cities, some plunging 18 stories deep. But these weren't just refuges from invaders. Carved ventilation shafts align with specific stars, while hidden chambers resonate at frequencies that amplify sound in eerie, deliberate ways. Were these underground complexes more than shelters? Some researchers propose they functioned as sealed observatories, where priests could study the stars shielded from weather or prying eyes. What ties these distant sites together? The emerging pattern suggests a shared celestial language. From the Andes to Anatolia, cultures with no known contact built structures that mirrored the heavens. Modern technology is now uncovering what rain and time tried to erase. Subtle markings on stones that track equinoxes, hidden chambers designed to capture Venus's light, even acoustic properties that turn entire temples into instruments for celestial harmony. The implications are staggering. If these practices were as widespread as the evidence hints, we might be looking at the remnants of a near-global astronomical tradition, one that viewed the sky not just as a map, but as a living force to be harnessed. The old narrative of humanity's steady climb from primitive to advanced starts to crumble. Instead, we see flashes of brilliance lost and rediscovered, as if ancient civilizations tapped into something we're only beginning to grasp. Every new scan, every unearthed artifact chips away at the idea of linear progress. Perhaps there wasn't one cradle of civilization, but many, each reaching for the stars in their own way, leaving behind clues in stone and earth. The real question isn't just what these cultures knew, but why that knowledge vanished, and what else might still lie buried, waiting for the right tool or the right moment to reveal its secrets. From the clay tablets of Sumer to the epic hymns of India, one thread weaves through humanity's oldest stories, visitors from beyond our world. The Sumerians called them the Anunnaki, gods who descended from the heavens to bestow wisdom. The Hindus wrote of Vimanas, celestial chariots capable of flight between worlds. Even the Dogon's ancestors claimed their knowledge of Sirius came from amphibious star beings. These aren't just isolated myths, they're echoes of a recurring question. Did ancient civilizations learn their celestial secrets from something or someone not of this earth? The precision of ancient astronomy makes this idea hard to dismiss outright. How else could the Maya calculate Venus's cycles to within hours over centuries? Or the builders of the Great Pyramid align its shafts to specific stars with near-perfect accuracy. Mainstream archaeology credits patient observation, centuries of tracking the skies by naked eye. But some researchers point to anomalies like the Antikythera mechanisms, advanced gears, or Gobekli Tepe's star-aligned pillars predating agriculture. Could these leaps in knowledge have come from outside intervention? Skeptics argue that attributing human achievement to aliens risks dismissing ancient ingenuity. After all, cultures like the Babylonians left detailed records of their mathematical methods. Yet the counterpoint remains. Why do so many disparate societies describe star visitors in eerily similar terms, often linking them to astronomical instruction? The Babylonian god Marduk was said to measure the heavens with celestial ropes. The Egyptian Thoth catalogued the stars in hidden texts. Even Plato wrote of Atlantis inheriting wisdom from gods of the sky. What's often overlooked is the psychological power of these narratives. Whether literal or symbolic, they reveal how deeply ancient cultures believed the cosmos was inhabited, not just observed but engaged with. The Nazca Lines, visible only from above, or Angkor Wat's Mirror of Draco, suggest creations meant for an audience beyond humanity. Were they messages, homages, or landing beacons? The debate isn't about proving aliens taught our ancestors, but about why these stories persist and what they say about our relationship with the stars. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere between myth and science, a forgotten chapter where celestial knowledge was so profound it could only be explained as divine. Or maybe, just maybe, the skies were once busier than we dare admit. Either way, these legends challenge us to look up with fresh eyes and wonder who might have been looking back. Beneath the high-tech domes of modern observatories and the sleek hulls of space telescopes, a quiet revolution is unfolding, one that traces its roots back to the stone circles and star charts of antiquity. While NASA rovers scour Mars and probes voyage beyond Pluto, some of the most groundbreaking discoveries in astronomy are emerging not just from cutting-edge technology, but from ancient wisdom. Archaeoastronomers now collaborate with astrophysicists, using laser scans and 3D modeling to reveal how sites like Machu Picchu functioned as precision celestial observatories. The Inca's Intihuatana stone, long dismissed as a ritual artifact, is now recognized for its uncanny alignment with solstices, a feature so precise it rivals modern solar tracking systems. What's even more surprising is how these rediscovered techniques are influencing contemporary science. The Maya's long count calendar, once shrouded in mystery, has been digitized into algorithms that help astronomers model planetary cycles with startling efficiency. Meanwhile, researchers at sites like Choco Canyon employ drone-mounted lidar to confirm what indigenous oral traditions have long claimed, that its great houses mirror the Milky Way's structure. These aren't mere historical curiosities, they're active tools. When NASA Parker Solar Probe needed efficient trajectory calculations, engineers drew inspiration from Polynesian star navigation methods, proving that ancient wayfinding principles hold up even in the space age. Perhaps the most tantalizing frontier lies in the overlap of archaeology and quantum physics. Experiments at CERN now explore whether megalithic sites like Karnak or Kalanish, with their resonant stones and geometric layouts, might have harnessed subtle energy patterns we're only beginning to measure. Indigenous elders from Australia to the Andes have long spoken of song lines and ley lines, invisible pathways of earthly and celestial energy. Modern instruments are detecting electromagnetic anomalies along these very alignments, suggesting that ancient astronomers may have mapped more than just the stars. This isn't about romanticizing the past, it's about recognizing a continuum of knowledge. From Babylonian eclipse records aiding modern orbital calculations to Dogon celestial lore prompting new research into Sirius's companion star, the dialogue between past and present grows richer by the year. The stones and scripts left behind aren't relics, they're unfinished conversations, invitations to see the cosmos as our ancestors did, not as a void to conquer, but as a living fabric to engage with. And in that exchange, we might just find the next great leap forward hidden in plain sight, etched into the very bones of ancient observatories. Standing at the threshold of this cosmic mystery, we're left with more than just ancient stones. We're faced with a profound question about human history itself. These monuments aren't merely relics of forgotten rituals. They're fragments of a grander vision, one where the boundary between earth and sky dissolved into something extraordinary. Whether aligned to solstices, resonating with unseen energies, or mirroring constellations with eerie precision, they whisper of a time when humanity didn't just watch the heavens, but sought to converse with them. What emerges from this journey isn't just a collection of ruins, but a startling realization. The brilliance of our ancestors defies easy categorization. The Great Pyramid's celestial shafts, the Nazca's sprawling star maps, and the Dogon's inexplicable Sirius knowledge all point to a shared yearning, not just to understand the cosmos, but to merge with its rhythms. And perhaps that's the most humbling truth of all. In our modern age of satellites and quantum physics, we're only beginning to grasp what these cultures might have known instinctively, that the stars are more than distant lights. They might be partners in an ancient dialogue, one etched into stone and myth. Now the challenge falls to us. Every excavation, every laser scan peels back another layer, revealing how much we've underestimated the past. Were these sites tools of celestial manipulation, temples to harness cosmic forces? The evidence dangles tantalizingly out of reach, inviting us to look upward with fresh wonder. One thing is certain, the more we learn, the clearer it becomes that history isn't a straight line from primitive to advanced. It's a spiral, a returning to questions we thought we'd outgrown, only to find our ancestors might have held answers all along. So what do you think? Were these observatories gateways to a lost science or something even more profound? The conversation doesn't end here. Drop your theories below, and if you're hungry for more ancient mysteries, hit that subscribe button. The past has only begun to share its secrets.